12 p.m. And we are also expecting Martin Williams. Let me see, I can't see everyone in this. Yeah, we are expecting Martin Williams, otherwise we don't have a quorum.
Okay. So since the recording just started, I will say again, Tracy Lesage is filling in as chair since Justin Dela Cruz is not able to attend the meeting. So Tracy, I'll leave it up to you if you want to wait a couple minutes or get started.
I think we should wait a couple minutes since we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
And see if Martin shows. If not, I guess we can proceed. We just can't do any motions.
Right. We can't do any motions or any voting, so it'll just be informational, which actually on our agenda, there is nothing scheduled to vote on.
Oh, okay. Just the minutes, maybe.
Just the minutes. So we'd have to schedule another time to approve the minutes. Thank you.
Sounds good.
While we're waiting, I just wanted to introduce myself to Heather. Hi, Heather. I'm Lita Abella. I didn't get to meet you at your first meeting, so I am so pleased to meet you today.
Thank you. Were you the one that did the training for the city attorney's office for Los Angeles?
Yes.
I was on that training, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Great. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think I got myself unmuted. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Okay. Okay, so I won't say anything else unless you guys need me to. Okay.
Okay.
Michelle, I noticed, sorry, Tracy.
No, go ahead.
I noticed that Randall as an attendee on the phone, and so I promoted him to a panelist because when I scheduled this, I didn't know that you were attending, Randall. So welcome to your first Oversight Committee meeting. You may have been to one in the past few years, but welcome to this one.
Thank you. I'm just really here to sit and observe. I might have to drop off early as well, but nice to see you all. Nice to see you again, Jim.
And I think we're probably going to get started. It looks like Martin's on, although it says Melanie, I think.
That's Melanie Lawrence.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. We cannot see you.
I know. I don't know what is going on with my video, so I'm still trying to make it work, but I am here.
So when we get started, I will introduce Mr. DeFantorum, and I think Bridget Grammy you met at a previous meeting, and also Melanie Lawrence. So
finishing a phone call there.
Randall, it's been a long time since I've seen you, man. What have you been up to?
Surprisingly, same old, Jim.
All right.
Ethics Hotline, COPRAC, rules.
You've only got 40 years in. How many more years are you going to do it?
I'm not sure.
It's good to see you, though.
Good to see you too.
Thank you.
All right, I think we'll get started. I don't know if he'll join later. This is my first time sharing this, so please chime in if I forget something or miss something. I have been attending these meetings though for quite some time, so hopefully my memory will serve me well. It looks like we start first with the chair's report, right? So
first, let's do a roll call and see what we have for attendance. So
who's present? Yeah.
Okay, Heather Benton.
I'm here.
Thanks, Heather. Justin Dela Cruz. Jim Hiding.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Lesage.
Here.
Thank you. Phil Spiegel, who may be muted and is not noticed on the meeting. Martin Williams. Okay, we have 3 members out of 6 and officially in attendance. So we do not have a quorum.
Okay, so we can start now with the chair's report then.
Let me pull back up my agenda. Yes, so call for public comment first. I don't see members of the public except for Phil on right now, but I suppose still ask to make sure.
There are no members of the public that showed up at my office for the meeting.
Or here.
Okay.
We're here.
All right, then it looks like there will not be public comment. And then, yes, the next thing is the chair's report, which since you were just asked 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes ago to film it, I imagine you don't have too much to say.
I really, other than it's really good to see everyone, and you know, I hope that those who weren't able to join are doing okay. So I know it's been up and down for most, so, but I don't have any updates. I will say that we have gotten a lot of applications for the financial assistance lately that I've been working on, so that's been nice. A lot of people reaching out for help, and I'm glad we're able to give assistance where we can and they qualify. Other than that, I don't have any other comments. So with that, we'll have to skip the approval of the minutes, right? Because we don't have a quorum. But we can
Correct.
add that to the agenda perhaps for the next meeting and then approve them both at that time.
Yes.
And then going on to the next item, it's the staff report. And item A is staffing update.
I'll take that one.
Thank you.
In terms of staffing, the interesting things to comment on here are that we've got one person fully on leave and one person mostly on leave, and that is Lita. She is working every other Friday, so she's here today for our meeting. And just letting the committee know that one of our clinical rehabilitation coordinators, Alex Ufik, is on bonding leave with his new baby. And so we do have a temp who is filling in for him right now. And Lita is prepared to give a little bit of a report today on her outreach.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So thank you. And I'm so happy that I'm able to be present at this meeting since I missed the last one and wasn't able to meet everybody. So since the beginning of the year, I've conducted 45 presentations that have to do with competency and substance use and mental health issues. I hear a dog or something barking. Something's going on.
I hear it too, but I can assure you it's not me.
Not my dog for a change.
So anyway, so I've conducted those MCLE presentations, and what's 45 is a pretty good number, actually, considering I was on a leave of absence for 6 weeks because I was involved in a very bad accident in February. And I have 21 presentations scheduled out till the remainder of the year. I will be coming back to work on August 1st. So those presentations would be from August to December. And within those presentations that I've conducted, I've been able to reach so many diverse communities, from our solo and small firm practitioners to our young attorneys to our attorneys of color, such as the Iranian American Bar Association, the Korean American Bar Association. I've reached out to legal aid attorneys, government attorneys, the city attorney's office, district attorney's office, county council, and just a whole wide variation of different groups, which is part of our strategic plan as far as LAP. Also, I've been learning a new platform called Vouch, which we're still in the experimental part of it, but this platform is going to allow us to have like little testimonials, maybe 30-second, 60-second testimonials from, hopefully our goal is to have it from LAP participants who have graduated from our program and that can give a positive testimonial about the program, what they liked about the program, etc. So I'm learning that platform, and hopefully when I come back in August, I will have worked with communications and we can get that up and running. So my report's very brief because I haven't been around for much, but I'm happy to be here, and that's all I have today. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Welcome back. We're glad to have you back, most definitely. And great
Thank you.
work. That platform sounds exciting.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. Does anyone have any questions or Alita?
No,
Nope. All right. Then it looks like, did that include recent developments? I'm not sure. Okay.
Oh, I have more developments.
Okay, we'll go on to that then.
Okay. I first wanted to give you the update, as I usually do, about our quarterly satisfaction survey results. When we last met in March, we were just starting to collect them. So for the first quarter of 2022, to give the background, we had created a metric that in our satisfaction survey, we would ask people 2 questions, and our goal is to have people agree or strongly agree with those, their statements, not questions, with a rate of 80% or higher. So the information and services provided by LAP effectively and appropriately address my goals. We want people to agree or strongly agree, 80% or higher, and our total was 92%.
Wow.
For the first quarter. And then the second item is overall, I am satisfied with my LAP experience, and 90% agreed or strongly agreed for the first quarter of 2022. So still doing pretty well on that metric, I believe.
Doing very well.
That's really the only like metric in terms of numbers that I have. There are a few things related to the committee yourselves that I wanted to bring up. One is that I wanted to remind you that the meeting of the Commission on Lawyer Assistance Programs annual meeting is happening in Washington, D.C. in September. We talked about it briefly at the last meeting. I don't think Jennifer or I heard back from anybody that you were interested in going, but I wanted to put it out there again. It's September 20th to the 22nd at the Omni Shoreham Hotel in Washington, D.C. So please let us know. The registration is just open. So let us know if any of you are interested in attending that meeting.
so Jim Hiding, I'm interested in attending.
Okay, thank you. All right. A reminder also for the committee, no one is in the State Bar building right now, so it wasn't important for today, but please remember to give proof of your COVID vaccination status to HR if you're planning to come to the State Bar office. For example, if we do have a meeting in person, which leads into my next comment is we've been meeting remotely and the bar is interested in still continuing remote meetings. We do need to still follow the Bagley-Keene rules, which had been suspended during the height of COVID. And now we're back to it, which is why you all had to post the addresses that you're logging in from. And I think we had emailed about it, but you have the option of attending from a WeWork space near you or from the State Bar office nearest you. So in the future, if you want to attend it from a State Bar office, we'll need your vaccination card, but also we can do up to 2 in-person meetings per year. So generally we do 4 per year. So half of our meetings per year, if the group is interested in doing them in person. You don't need to make a decision right now. And of course, not everybody is even here to give their opinion on it. So we, when we do our doodle, as we usually send out, we can also include in there a question about whether you would like to be having a meeting in person next time. Although I am curious about your initial impressions, does anybody think you prefer to come to a State Bar office or you prefer to notice where you are? Heather prefers to come? Okay.
I don't like to drive, but I like the people, so I'd rather see the people in person.
I'm the same too.
I would come as well. Yeah.
It's a drive, but it's in person just seems to be more productive. I like
All right.
Fully
seeing
agree.
people, but it is, although traffic's been better because a lot of people are telecommuting, so maybe it won't be as long of a drive.
All right, so we'll include that in our doodle that we send out after this meeting to schedule the next one. Let's see, I think that's all I have in this topic for the committee.
Great.
Any questions?
No, that the satisfaction results, those are really high, great numbers. So congratulations to you and your staff for all the wonderful work and dedication, especially through, challenging times, to say the least. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Michelle? No? Okay. We're moving right along then. And I know, Michelle, you had mentioned having the two individuals who we didn't meet the last time introduce themselves, but I didn't know when would be a good time to do that. I know we're going to move on to business. So I don't know.
You could, yeah, go ahead and do that before.
Okay. So I think
I'll be
it's
talking for a while, so.
okay. Randall, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Randall Beepentorm, everybody can call me Randy. I've been with the State Bar for many years, and it's been fully associated with just one office, the Office of Professional Competence. And some of you may know the bar's main activities are in admissions and discipline, but Office of Professional Competence really isn't involved in either. We are the office that has the mission of setting and maintaining high standards of professional responsibility. And so we have the Ethics Hotline program, which is the telephone research assistance service for lawyers. We assist lawyers by giving them references to rules, cases, ethics opinions, so that together with their later comprehensive research, they can make informed decisions on things such as conflicts of interest, lawyer advertising, file retention. Ethics Hotline staff cannot give an opinion or tell them what to do, but the research assistance has gone a long way, particularly for solo and small practitioners who don't have a lot of people to bounce things off. They don't have an in-house ethics compliance person. It's really been a great program. The other mainstay of our office is the Standing Committee on Professional Responsibility and Conduct, and that is the committee of the Board of Trustees that is charged with issuing advisory ethics opinions. So where the Ethics Hotline cannot apply the law and reach a conclusion, that is precisely the bailiwick of the COPRAC committee. They're known by that acronym, COPRAC. Lawyers and oftentimes a non-lawyer member, sometimes more than one non-lawyer member, meet regularly to consider hypothetical issues of attorney conduct. They go through iterations of drafts. They put out the opinions for public comment, and eventually they are posted as published opinions on the State Bar website and in the State Bar's official publication, the California Compendium on Professional Responsibility. The opinions themselves are non-binding, so they don't carry any sort of controlling precedent. They're not like a State Bar Court Review Department decision. But these opinions have been cited by both the appellate courts, the California Supreme Court, and even sometimes the State Bar Court on issues that don't really find themselves often in the discipline system. So you might find a lot of the discipline system authorities, the opinions that come out of the State Bar Court on issues of abandonment and misappropriation, commingling, but the ethics opinions get into the areas that you don't see a lot in the State Bar Court. Conflicts of interest, complex fee sharing issues, a lot of advertising, those types of things. And so we think it's a good complement to have the ethics opinions as well as the binding authority that is out there. Professional competence is growing. We are looking to become an education arm of the State Bar. And so we've been doing a lot of e-learning, online distance learning, and we're entering the area of self-assessments. That's a growth function within our office. We worked on the 10-hour new attorney training curriculum, got a chance to include a module, an hour from Professor Krill and the lab staff as part of that 10-hour training for those new attorneys. And we look to do a lot more in the space of e-learning and self-assessments. And that's sort of professional competence in a nutshell. Some of you might be familiar with it. Thankfully, Jim has worked closely with us in the past with our ethics symposium and with COPRAC, and we appreciate his support over the years as a member of the board.
Yeah, definitely.
We report to Bridget as our senior staff person. We're in the programs division, and Bridget is our deputy chief of programs.
Great work. We rely on you heavily too. I work for the public defender's office here in Orange County, so we're always calling or reviewing those opinions. They're extremely helpful, and you're right. Some of the issues are nuanced and unique, and sometimes that's the only time we'll get guidance is in one of those writings that your organization puts together. So
Great.
great work. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Melanie?
Hi, yes, my name is Melanie Lawrence, and I have taken over for Lori Mellock, who retired after a long tenure with the bar. I have been with the bar for quite some time, about 16 and a half years. All of my career up until the last few weeks has been in the Office of Chief Trial Counsel. I started as a line attorney there and handled every case possible for about 7 years. And then I joined the management team. So I was an assistant chief trial counsel for a number of years. And more recently, I was the interim chief trial counsel for 3.5 years before George Cardona was appointed. And when he came in, I was working as the deputy chief trial counsel, and was looking for an opportunity to do something different. And this came up, and I was interested in getting to know a little bit more about what some of the other programs do. So I will, like Lori, I will be managing the Office of Case Management and Supervision, the Lawyers Assistance Program, and the Client Security Fund. So just a few weeks of getting my feet wet. So I'm very new still and a lot to learn, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to meet all of you.
Great. Nice to meet you. Glad you're here as well. And I think we met Bridget already. So welcome, Bridget, though, back.
Thank you. Great to see everyone.
Awesome. All right, I think we can move on then to discussion of Lawyer Assistance Program Reorganization by Michelle.
All right. I just want to say I am so excited to be able to share this with you all, because it's involved some work that we've been doing to try and put this together. And as I go into it, you will understand why we have Randy here. And I have a little summary, so I will read it, but please feel free to interrupt me if something isn't clear. But I want to make sure that I hit all of the points that I need to. As we've been talking about a lot in this group, in order to increase outreach and support attorneys, the Lawyer Assistance Program is going to be able to expand to include wellness, behavioral health, and targeted support for categories of attorneys who experience unique challenges in the profession. And in order to accomplish this goal, the Education and Support Services part of LAP is going to be transferred from the Office of Professional Support and Client Protection to the Office of Professional Competence, which Randy heads. So we will still have the same monitoring like we do now. The monitoring LAP will continue to monitor those with substance use and mental health diagnoses under the Office of Case Management and Supervision, which is in the Professional Support and Client Protection Office. And that will still include all of the people who are referred by the Office Admissions and the State Bar Discipline System as a part of ADP, and will also be involved in the ASAR project, which Lori had been giving updates about previously, which involves the Office of Probation updating their procedures and how they do things and trying to make a more collaborative model. So that part of LAP is still going to be involved in all of that planning. We will also be able to include participants who would like professional monitoring, even if they are not officially referred by the court or by the Office of Admissions. So we're not planning any changes to the clinical rehabilitation coordinators, the assessments, the testing, all of that will still be available. What we will not have anymore is the distinction between voluntary and mandatory participants. They will all just be LAP participants and all be monitoring. The support program, which you may remember, is when people can come into LAP, obtain the assessment from the CRC, but then not have a monitoring plan. They will hear the recommendations and then just choose to follow them if they want to or not. Will not be an option, but that type of support will be covered in the support services part that I'll get to, and that'll be the more new things that are developed.
Michelle, can I ask a question?
Yes.
On the voluntary versus mandatory, there was there was an aspect of confidentiality with the voluntary participants, that if they're jumped together or put together, is that confidentiality supposed to go away, or how does that work?
It is not supposed to go away. We still have the same rules, the same assurances that we will give people. I can't say 100% for sure, but it is still expected that we will have the staff in a private suite, that we will have our computer system separate from the rest of the State Bar, our files separate. Participants will still need to sign a release of information in order for us to share any information with the Office of Admissions or with the discipline system. And if they don't sign a release of information, then we don't share the information with anybody within the State Bar or outside the State Bar. Because we will be part of the same office, the same management structure will have access to some of the information about the participants, but it's not being combined with the Office of Probation or any of the offices in professional support and client protection.
And they won't have access to anything unless there's an authorization?
Correct.
So will the authorization files be separated from the non-authorization files?
The files, all of the lap files, whether they have an authorization to speak to anybody or not, will still be together with the lap files, and then all of the lap files will be separate from any probation files or any other office.
Okay. Well, Randy and Melanie, I just want to, express my concern about maintaining strict confidentiality for those people who don't have, who have concerns about that and who have entered the program voluntarily. So thanks, Michelle.
Sure. It's a really important question. We have been talking about that also within the planning teams when we've been coming up with these ideas of what we can do to help expand LAP. So the support services LAP will provide customized resources to attorneys who contact the program depending on their area of need and what they express. One of the clinical rehabilitation coordinators will be going over to that side of the program, so there will still be a clinician that people can speak to if they need to, and who could do some, not the same formal assessment like they would do if the person's being monitored, but will get information about what sort of problems the person has and make recommendations as the best way to address them. Lita also will be moving over to that side of the program. As Randy was talking about, they do education, and she will continue to do her same education and outreach over on the Office of Professional Competence side. I'm going to go back to the thing I was reading. Okay. The staff will also work with subject matter experts and the Office of Professional Competences Education Department to develop continuing legal education modules on wellness, law practice management, cognitive decline, and other topics to provide attorneys with specialized support to maintain competent practice and prevent attorney discipline and client harm. They will also consult with our experts in the access and inclusion space to design more specific support services for attorneys, which are designed to help increase and maintain diversity in the profession by addressing the intersectionality of the practice of law and the unique experiences of underrepresented minorities, including women, people of color, and those with disabilities, etc. And that was a goal that we directly brought in from this committee and the conversations that we've had here when we were talking about ways that that program is going to expand. The support services also is going to continue to administer what we now call the transition assistance service, which is a name that confuses people anyhow. So we will just be calling it another one of our services we offer. That's the 2 free career counseling and the 2 free individual counseling sessions that are eligible for attorneys and law students and applicants. And we'll also administer any kind of the financial assistance loan, or hopefully we'll be able to develop some other grants program or other types of assistance that could be offered to make the services more easily available to those who have financial needs. So that is my spiel. Questions, conversation, ideas. This is I think, going to be a great time to talk about ideas, which we will continue to do, of course, over our other meetings. But now that we will have this opportunity to expand the services more in the Office of Professional Competence, this is when we are starting to brainstorm of all the kind of things that we can offer that we hadn't been able to before.
Really sounds good to me. I look forward to it, really.
I'm just curious, is that, we had prior discussions about the drug court model. Is that off the table now? Or is that still being looked into?
Maybe Melanie has more information.
It is something that we are still looking at. We have a number of other items to get through on the checklist, but that is one of them.
Great. Just curious. And so if an attorney is facing discipline and they, as part of their agreement, they have to do LAP, they would be in the program now, as you just described, not under the professional competence.
Right. They would be in the monitoring program, which would be in the professional support and client protection side, not in the Office of Professional Competence side. And like we were talking about before, the files and everything for the people who are being monitored by LAP are now going to be unavailable to the people who are on the support services side. So for example, the clinical rehabilitation coordinator, who was used to being able to see all of the information about the participants, will no longer have access to that information once he moves over to the professional competence side.
Great.
And part of what we will be developing on that side is a new tracking system of how to keep track of files, callers, the types of services that are requested, the types that are taken advantage of when we recommend.
I'm sure you've got reports and summaries between all of you on the staff that outline all of this, but I sure would like to have something that would give me kind of a outline, a summary of what the proposed changes are and what the changes will be, if that's available, if we could do that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I would like that as well.
How about I send you the spiel that I just read for today that sums it up, and then if as we develop, I mean, at this point, that overview is pretty much sums up most of what we've got. Then there's the more detail about the staffing and which staff are working on this side and how the new roles will be defined. And then we need to just keep developing.
Do you know how soon the plan is to make that switch? Or is this?
The plan is July 1st to switch the programs and have the staff be separated in that way, and then be able to start developing their services. More development on the new side and the monitoring side, to be able to keep doing what they're doing. So I will send out to at least to Jim and Heather, but I think all of the committee members would probably be interested in that, so that of course you can go. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great.
Okay. Obviously it's public information. This meeting is public. People can access it at any time. And I will of course BCC it, so there's no issue of somebody accidentally replying and creating a serial meeting.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Don't talk amongst yourselves, but I will send it out.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Any questions?
One thing I'll just throw in is that I noticed that Araya was attending as a public member, so I promoted her to a panelist, Michelle.
Okay. Araya, it looks like her camera is off, but well, actually, Randy, I just met Araya yesterday, so maybe you would be the better person to introduce her to the committee.
Great. And Araya, if you can, I'd love to have you to say a word as well. Araya comes to the Office of Professional Competence as our program manager over the provider approval area of MCLE. And so MCLE wouldn't work without the great effort of all of the MCLE providers who do single activity courses, and some who are basically certified to be multi-activity providers of courses. And so California Lawyers Association, Bar Association of San Francisco, even the State Bar of California itself are multi-activity providers. And in order to achieve and maintain that status, there's a whole provider regimen, rule, and compliance and renewal. And so Araya has come to us previously with another department, but has joined us recently and brought her staff to do two things, really to continue that good work of provider approval, but also to begin a new focus on enhancing the quality of continuing legal education. And so because we in OPC are starting to expand as the education arm of the State Bar, we have also posted and are looking to fill a senior attorney for education. And so this senior attorney for education would take the lead on a lot of the educational development, but would be working closely with Araya on how the efforts to develop our own independent education might bleed over and lead to some maybe even regulatory changes to hopefully improve the quality of MCLE generally. When the support lab activity comes over in July, Araya will be the line manager for the staff that are going to be in OPC. Now, OPC is based out of San Francisco. All of our staff is in San Francisco, except for Araya. Araya is in Southern California, and she will actually be able to go into the office and meet and work closely with the staff who are coming over. And I do want to say just something by way of deep background. Jim was alluding to my long term with the State Bar, but years ago, the function was known as Lawyers Personal Assistance Program, LPAP. And we had within our office two really incredible people, Richard Carlton and June Brown, who carried on the lawyers assistance activities within the Office of Professional Competence. So in a way, part of this whole transition is sort of a coming home for some aspect of lawyers support and lawyer assistance. We've always believed that if you want to set and maintain high standards of competence, professional responsibility, you don't just need good rules, you don't just need resources like ethics opinions and research assistance. If the licensee is laboring under a challenge or impairment that prevents them from appreciating all of that, the rules, the ethics opinions, when to get research help, then you're still going to be incapable of achieving that goal of promoting competent and professionally responsible practice of law. So I'm very excited for this joining up of the new support services with the Office of Professional Competence. I think we are doing something great for the licensees as well as the public.
And I just wanted to add, thank you for all of that, Randy, that, there are kind of a lot of moving parts, as you can imagine, when we're switching over things and trying to figure out the new strategy for things. So I appreciate you wanting to see a paper, something on paper documenting everything. And once we have things a little bit more finalized about where things are going to land, which aspects are going to land where, and who's going to report to who, all of those things, we'll have that final version in paper for you shortly. We just are still kind of working through some things right now.
Thank you, Randy. I'm sorry, I don't know how to put my video on. I don't have that option, but I was able to unmute myself and say hello. I have been with the bar for quite some time, 11 years in November this year, and I've worked in Office of Admissions, and most recently, before going to Office of Professional Competence, in Attorney Regulation, Consumer Resources, and I was overseeing the MCLE compliance and MCLE provider certification while there. And the MCLE provider certification program moved, so I moved with it. And as Randy indicated, I'm the program manager overseeing that program directly, and I'm excited and looking forward to learning more about LAP, the support services aspect of things, and getting to meet the staff and collaborate on new initiatives that seem to be coming up on the horizon.
Great, thank you, Araya. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
I think Michelle, you had finished, I think, right? With
Yes,
that,
I left a lot of time on the agenda for this so that there would be discussion if people had
right.
questions and concerns and ideas, but we don't need to use it if nobody has anything.
And that, but your portion, there's also a B item under business talking about attorney supervision and assistance redesign project. Were those combined?
No, that I had as my name for me to present because when we were posting the agenda, Lori was leaving and I didn't know who would be doing it, but Melanie is actually prepared to do that agenda item when we're finished with this one.
All right, just before we move on to that, does anyone have any other comments for Michelle or questions? No? Okay, then we'll move on to Melanie for the attorney supervision and assistance redesign project update.
Great.
You drop off now, folks. It was really nice to join.
Bye. Nice to
Thank
meet you
you.
as well. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't have a lot for you today because, again, I'm a few weeks into this and I'm trying to learn what all the moving parts are. I will say that one looming aspect of this particular position is moving forward this redesign project, and there are a number of moving parts to it. And so I'm really just skimming the surface at this point on all of the parts. But you know, I think that sort of the two that really stand out to me right now that really need to move forward in order for the rest of the parts to sort of fit together relate to the risk assessment tool that's being done. So, you know, the idea really is to move the probation monitoring aspect of the discipline system along in a much more robust way. And to really have our probation case specialists engage with our respondent attorneys to support them and to hopefully give them some tools as they move along in the discipline process so that they don't recidivate. And that the risk assessment tool is really one of the ways in which the probation case specialists will have an opportunity to determine who it is that they're working with and what the future might hold for these folks. So the bar actually contracted with a company called Analytics Initiatives. So this is Doctors Michael Baglivio and Kevin Wolf. And they are and have been for a number of months now looking at some data that the bar provided to them to really determine what some factors might be that sort of inform a respondent's risk to recidivate. And in late April, they produced a draft phase 1 report. So really, again, we're still in the early process of this. But the phase 1 report is really intended to sort of look at what all of the potential measures are and determine which ones might be most significant in determining risk. And what they're looking at is risk of 3 potential outcomes. So that is whether someone gets a new complaint after discipline, whether someone gets a new investigation. And by that, I mean, a lot of times cases that come into the intake unit close and never actually move forward to investigation. So they're looking at cases that might actually move forward to investigation. And then a potential outcome of an actual new filing of a new disciplinary matter. So phase 1 is really exploring the relationship between different measures and those 3 potential outcomes. And we're still in the process of reviewing the phase 1 report. Some of the things that, you know, they're looking at in the data set, and there's 2,977 unique respondents that they were looking at to sort of cull out some of the potential factors. So some of the things that, you know, they're looking at is just years in practice, for example, age of the practitioner at the time that they're coming into the discipline system, gender, law enforcement, or excuse me, law school type. And, you know, part of the challenge is what data set is actually available, what historical data set is available. And I think that the bar has been better in the last couple of years about asking licensees for more information. And so I think that that data set will be much more robust moving forward. And so what I'm learning about this process is that the risk assessment tool, while we hope to have something in place relatively soon, it's sort of a living, breathing measure that will have to be tested over time and potentially updated. So that's where we are now with phase 1. And then phase 2 is going to be exploring which of the measures are most predictive for those potential outcomes. And the idea really is that once we have the tool, that the probation case specialists can use it to determine essentially how much in terms of resources should be put into each respondent. So for example, someone who is a low risk may not receive as many services because perhaps they don't need as many services to actually be successful. But someone who's a moderate or high risk may need more or specific kinds of services to be more successful on probation. So I'm hoping that over the next months, we'll move into the phase 2 portion, and that relatively soon we'll have a risk assessment tool for folks to actually use. So that's really, we really need to get there before we can move to some of these other areas. But the other thing that I'm also learning about that we've been working on is that we have actually contracted with a woman who, her name is Melanie Lowenkamp from Core Correctional Solutions, to assist us with creating an intake guide. And this is for our probation case specialists to use to sort of establish rapport with respondents when they first come into the supervision program, and to evaluate them and discuss goals for moving forward in the process. And she's also working with our probation case specialists to train them on motivational interviewing. So again, establishing rapport with folks, getting buy-in to particular goals and to the long-term process. So our probation case specialists have begun that training with her, and will continue to do that over a period of months. So those are some of the real big ticket items that we're working on. As I said, there are a number of other items that we'll be working on and that I'm still learning about that we need to move forward, but we're well on our way. So any questions?
I have a question. The company name, sorry, I didn't get the full name. I know it was Analytics something.
Sure, Analytics Initiatives.
I wondered if that group or organization has already have any other risk assessment tools on the market, or that they've used in the past. Is that what they do? I was just curious.
So I don't know the answer to your questions, although I do think that that is what they do. It is their area of specialty, but I whether or not they actually have them on the market, I assume so. I assume they have a proven track record, but I don't know enough about them to answer the question directly.
And we can get you more information. I do know that they have been working in the juvenile justice sphere for a long time and working on developing these things. So yes, Melanie's right. They definitely have experience in this. I don't know if it's how their research translates to, which particular areas. And so we can let you know more specifics about that, but it's certainly an area that they've been working on for many years.
And I will tell you too that my understanding is they and Melanie Lowenkamp, who we've been working with, came recommended by a consultant that we've been contracted with, Brian Richard, who is a probation specialist, I think, in Northern California, who's been really helpful to us.
Just curious.
Sure.
Because obviously that tool is probably critical, right?
Right.
Whoever designs it, especially because I'm unaware of any currently in existence that involve attorneys' risk. So having a company that has some experience, you know, and a track record of putting those things together was important. So that's why I asked.
Sure. And they also, I think it was in March, did a presentation for the Board of Trustees also to talk a little bit about what the work they've been, who they are and the work that they've been doing. And I think that once they have something more concrete in terms of a tool, that there will be another discussion as well with the Board of Trustees.
Great.
I think that they've been studying it now for, I don't know, a long, long time. It seems like to me this, and putting together the risk assessment tool. Melanie, I don't know if you're privy to this, but I was appointed to be the liaison between that project and this committee. So I haven't been involved with it. Nobody invites me to do anything, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that. And I'd be offering my services or input or whatever you need from me.
Okay, great. I didn't know that. So that's good to know. Thank you.
I know that is. Doesn't, go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, I just had a question in terms of whether the data you're considering also considers things like relapse, failure to take medication, et cetera, which may influence whether somebody engages in the same activity over and over again, or are you just straight looking at the data in terms of how many referrals they have and all that?
So from what I've seen, and again, we're restricted again by the data that we collect and that we have. So from what I've seen, it would not include some of those issues that you're talking about. They have at least initially looked at some of the conditions that have been ordered on discipline. So for example, if someone has been ordered to pay restitution, for example, or go to client trust account school, for example. So those are some of the conditions that they've been looking at, but I don't even know if that data that you're talking about even exists for them to include. Again, it's sort of a living, breathing process that if that sort of data becomes available, they may think that it's relevant to actually take a look at it, but I don't think it exists now.
Thank you. Any other questions? Or comments or follow-up for Melanie? Doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
And welcome again. It's nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Much appreciated.
So I think that if I'm looking at the agenda, right, next will be closed session, but it shows there's none. So before we go forward, I don't think we can do a motion to adjourn, but before we get to adjourning, does anyone have anything they want to talk about or comment on?
Our next meeting will be October, right, Michelle?
Where are we now? It's June, yeah.
October.
Okay, so I'll send a
We can do
doodle,
it-
probably the end of
Yeah, we could do it at the end
September,
of
early
September,
October.
end of September,
Okay,
beginning of
that's great.
October. Sorry, Jim, what was that?
Bill,
I
did
think
you
that
have-
was, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I thought I heard Phil and James. so-
Yeah,
I was just saying Phil had something to say, and that's all I
Yeah.
was. Hey,
No,
but
no,
I
no,
do,
I'm just saying
go ahead, Phil.
October's, yeah, no, October's fine for me.
Oh, he said October's fine for him.
Yeah, I just did want to make one comment about the minutes. I know we're not voting on them, but it seems to be just a reiteration of the agenda. And I don't know, I like the minutes to have some kind of meat to them somewhat, you know, as to what actually happened or what was reported upon. And this didn't seem to get it. Now, I know that's kind of sounds critical. I don't mean it to sound critical, but I would like to make the observation that I would like to see more meat in the minutes.
Jim, I used to write minutes like that, and then I was told by the bar, the format that they're in now, that was what I was instructed to use.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
So we can, maybe Bridget and Melanie and I can talk about that further and see where we can come up with a happy medium between those.
yeah, because I think the oversight members would like to see more to the minutes than that.
Yeah, I recall discussing that in the
agree with that.
past, so.
Yeah, I agree with Jim.
I agree too. I felt like it doesn't really help me get a sense of what we talked about last time in terms of moving forward. And I think, you know, even if it's really basic, it's helpful to know in case the same kind of issue or topic comes up at the next meeting or, you know, another meeting, we have a reference of it.
Great, thank you. So maybe Melanie can look into that, I think. And
We'll definitely talk about it, sure.
yeah, or talk about it.
Michelle, I think I had mentioned September for the next meeting, but did you say it's October?
We can look at the calendar when we send the doodle. We could do October. At the end of September is collab, so maybe we'll depending how we want to arrange it, if there's time for us to meet before then, or if we want to meet right after that, so that we can talk about what was gained at that meeting. That would be a good topic that I know we always like to talk about, and it loses some of the immediacy of it if we're waiting another 3 months to talk about what happened at collab way back then.
Thank you.
That's a good point. All right, so we'll look out for the doodle with those dates. Does anybody have anything else they want to mention before we adjourn?
You did a great job.
Thank you. It's the last thing I thought was going to happen today, so I appreciate it very much so. Thank you all for all your hard work and everything. So it's good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we'll just adjourn. We usually do a motion, but we can't because we don't have a quorum. So we'll just adjourn until we see you next time. It sounds like it'll be October.
Okay.
Okay,
Take
bye
care,
all.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tracy.
Nice meeting
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.